I'm Michelle Kraemer, Global Strategy Lead for Cloud for Marketing. And I'm here today with Matyas from Google Marketing Platform to talk to you about how Google's ads and cloud products work together to help you create delightful customer experiences. Now, before we get started, I'd love to get a sense for who we have here in the room this morning. How many of you are on data and analytics teams inside of your companies? And specifically, maybe some of you working on marketing analytics. A few hands, good. And who here is in an IT team supporting the marketing department? Welcome. Do we have any partners in the room? Great. And how about agencies? And last but definitely not least, other marketing technology companies. Welcome. Well, there's a broad cross-section of folks here in the room, but one of the things that we all have in common is that we're also all consumers. So I wanted to just take a minute of time to think about the challenge that marketing data silos presents to us in our lives as consumers. And I'd like to start with a real-life example. Not too long ago, I undertook the adventure of renovating a 100-plus-year-old house here in San Francisco, where I live. That is not my house, but that is actually my bathroom in a half state of demolition, which thankfully I never had to use in quite that level of exposure. Well, as anyone who's ever done a renovation knows, it involves a lot of decision making and a lot of picking of fixtures, things that you never even heard the names of before. Can anyone relate to this experience? A few brave souls in the audience. Well, my project was no different. And one of the things that I had to pick as part of this renovation was the bathroom vanity, that cabinet that goes underneath your sink. And so I'd done a little bit of shopping. I had all my measurements in hand and was ready to go out and see what was available. And I ended up on the website of a retailer I had shopped with before and found the exact right size and style of that vanity, purchased it online, and was really excited to go to sleep knowing I'd checked something off of a very long list. But it turns out that that next day, I got a call from the retailer saying that item actually was not available, and it wouldn't be anytime soon. And to make matters worse, an ad for that very vanity started following me around the internet. I see some chuckles over here, so it sounds like folks can relate to having had that experience. As you can imagine, it was disappointing in that I wanted to buy that item, but it wasn't available for me to buy. Well, about a week later, I ended up in that retailer's physical store and found a vanity that I liked just as much. And as I was shopping and checking out, I opted into their email marketing list. But I started to get emails for bedroom furniture, which was way outside of the scope of my project. In fact, if you'd seen my living conditions at the time, you'd know that that was definitely not an option. And now, a year later, or plus, I am now getting ads for bathroom faucets. And I definitely am happy I did the renovation, but not interested in doing another one anytime soon. Now, this kind of experience is frustrating. And it felt like the brand wasn't in tune with my needs and my experiences. I can only imagine what this could be like in the future if that brand would consider all of the interactions I had with them, not just in that moment, but in the years prior, and use that understanding to customize the interactions they were having with me every step of the way. Now, I'm not alone in this desire. Harvard Business Review took a look at customer analytics and found the stakes are high. Customers today respond to experiences that are timely, targeted, and tailored to their specific needs, and reject those that aren't. I can tell you from personal experience that it did not take long for me to unsubscribe from that email list once I got that first message. We also know that this is having real business impact. In an HBR survey, 44% of survey responses said that the use of customer analytics generates significant revenue growth. So we know that there's business impact here, and that consumers really desire this level of customization. So why is this not what our experience is all the time? Well, the reason is, firstly, that all of the information that a marketer would need to be able to tailor the experience of a consumer is spread across many different systems within their organization. You can think of my example where even the inventory system and the web CMS were not in sync. Now, to be truly relevant, you also need to look beyond your first-party data to third-party data that might be useful in terms of getting a holistic picture of what's actually happening. Things like weather patterns and economic indicators. Siloed data means it's hard to get insights, and it also means that marketing teams have to start thinking beyond their particular channels and silos. For example, a team that focuses mostly on ads campaigns needs to start thinking beyond ads data alone. Now, bringing all of your data together across these silos is really the first step in the data journey. Once that data is all together in one place, you can transform it to be ready for analysis, analyze it to generate insights, and use those insights across your organization to create better customer experiences. This is fundamentally what we set out to achieve with Cloud for Marketing. Creating solutions to help enterprises like yours create delightful customer experiences from your data and marketing technology. Now, we've had a number of sessions over the course of this week that have focused on how to help you get value out of your first-party data with Google Cloud. And I will encourage you to check them out on YouTube. We'll put a list of them at the end of this presentation, as well as to come by our booth, which is in the showcase for the rest of today. I'd also recommend specifically looking at the DA 101 session, where we had customer examples of success stories of creating these kinds of experiences from brands like Ulta, American Eagle, and Colgate. For this session, we're going to specifically focus on how Google Marketing Platform and Google Cloud can work better together to help you create great customer experiences. Working collaboratively across our products, we can help you do three things: understand the customer journey, predict marketing outcomes, and personalize the experience at all touch points. Google Marketing Platform enables you to build better digital ad campaigns, planning, buying, measuring, and optimizing the digital ad experience and web experience all in one place to drive business growth. And Google Cloud helps you supercharge your customer and marketing data, bringing data together across all touch points, not only ads and web data, but also CRM data, email data, loyalty data, billing data, and more, and analyzing that data at scale. Now I'd like to turn it over to Matt to talk a little bit more about Google Marketing Platform in detail.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And hello, everybody. As Michelle mentioned, my name is Matyas, and I'm a product manager for Google Marketing Platform. And I'm thrilled to be here to talk to you all today about what Google Marketing Platform is capable of and how it can help you and your companies get value through all of your marketing programs. Let's start with an overview of Google Marketing Platform. At the highest level, the platform is a collection of products that helps you get much more value out of your marketing programs. Let's go through each of the 7 products that are within, as you can see here on screen. We're going to start with Display and Video 360, which is our product for planning and buying your display and video campaigns. And this is actually true across the entire internet, as there's a large network of sites that you can target through Display and Video 360. Search Ads 360 works very similarly, except that it's targeting search ads and search engines that you can run search ads on. And to note, this isn't just including Google's search engine. This is including many of the most popular search engines across the internet. Next is Google Analytics 360. Google Analytics 360 helps you understand how your customers are engaging with your websites and your mobile apps. It's a critical set of data to really understand deeply how your customers are engaging with your products. Data Studio is our reporting product that allows you to pull data in from many different sources, including Google Cloud, and then visualize that in interesting ways. It also makes it very easy to share that data broadly within your organization and your other teammates that you're working with. Optimize 360 helps you run A/B experiments. So you can customize, content for different groups of people and find out which combination of content is going to work best for your customers. Surveys 360 lets you do market research at scale. If you are running a new product program, or if you have made any significant changes to your company's brand, and you want to measure the impact and customer perceptions on that, Surveys 360 allows you to very easily do that. And finally, Tag Manager 360 is a tagging product that helps to automate the process of updating and launching new tags on your websites and apps. What used to take in the past potentially months to get a tag deployed now can be automated and launched in near real time. Great, so now that we've taken a look at what Google Marketing Platform is all about and the products within, I want to walk you through a real customer example of how they got value from Google Marketing Platform. And for this example, we're going to take a look at Sprint, a large telecommunications company. Hopefully many of you in the room are familiar with them. Sprint, just like many other telecommunications companies, they offer a lot of services and products to their customers for mobile communications. The switching costs for a customer to switch from one telecommunications company to another are actually very low now. So what that means is companies have to compete very hard to keep their customers happy and show the value. And so Sprint's marketing team was challenged with trying to keep and retain more of their customers. So what they did is they joined together two of their teams, their analytics team and their marketing team, and had them collaborate to run a program to try to reduce their churn rates. So what they did is they took a look at, within all of their data, their analytics data from their website and their apps, what kind of signals could predict a customer that was likely to churn. And what they found was a couple factors were pretty good predictors of a customer likely to churn. Things like a customer turning off automatic bill pay, or a customer who stops engaging with their mobile app. So what they did is inside of Analytics 360, they created an audience for just users who met that exact criteria. Then they shipped that audience over to Display and Video 360, where they ran an ad program targeted just to those users to try to remind them of the value that Sprint offers and keep them within their network. And the results you can see on screen here. They had a fantastic 10% reduction in churn. If you think about just how much cheaper it is to retain an existing customer than it is to acquire a new one, this is pretty significant impact. So we just highlighted one of the ways that a couple products within Google Marketing Platform can work better together to drive more value for you. We also have a lot of additional ways that the products can be combined to deliver further marketing value for you. And that's why we've built what we call an integration center. And inside of the integration center, that's where we're highlighting a lot of these integrations and helping you become aware of them and take advantage and get them set up. What I'm going to do next is run a live demo and show you what the integration center looks like. So if we can switch over to my laptop, perfect. What you will do is you'll start by searching for going to your favorite search engine and searching for a marketing platform. Take a look down at the search results, and here is the Google Marketing Platform. Great. Now you come to our homepage where you can learn all about Google Marketing Platform and the products within. And when you're ready to get started, click the blue button to sign on in. This takes you into an experience we call Google Marketing Platform Home. Here you can get quick links into the products within Google Marketing Platform that you're using, as well as have access to a series of functions we built to better tie these products together. Right now, I'm going to demo the integration center for all of you. Once you launch this, you're going to see a few different sections here, starting with what we call the integrations gallery. And the integrations gallery is going to show you all the different possible integrations that you could create. And then down below, we have sections that are tailored to you as an individual user and company that will show you all the products and integrations you are working with right now. Let's start by looking at this gallery a little bit more deeply. Here you can see we've highlighted some of our most popular integrations. You can read a little bit about them, click to learn more, or even take action and start getting going with that integration right now. Here you can see Display and Video 360 along with Analytics 360, the very integration that Sprint used in their program. We also have various tabs that will list all the integrations by product. And you can see as you click through, we not only list integrations within Google Marketing Platform, but we also highlight prominent third-party integrations as well. One in particular I want to highlight here is inside of Analytics, it's possible to link your Analytics 360 accounts to Bigquery. And what you can do is you can actually export all of your analytics data into Bigquery for all of the power and the rich querying capabilities of Bigquery. When you're ready to get that set up, you simply click the Add Integration button. It asks you which website or mobile app you would like to target. Now let's go ahead for this demo. We're going to look at the Google Merchandise Store. And you simply follow the prompts to load up the experience that guides you through creating this link. You'll see what will load in just a moment here is a few steps of a wizard that asks you for a series of questions for how you want to export the data out of Analytics and into Bigquery. One of the first things you're going to do is input an ID of your Bigquery project. Then you select the source analytics view where the data is going to come out of. There are various alerts that will be triggered, and so you want to pick who is going to be receiving those. And finally, there are a couple of settings that control how the data is going to flow across. So you would simply read that and choose the appropriate option for you. And that's it. Once you've done this, you're now set. Your data is going to be exported out of Analytics into Bigquery, and you'll be able to do your rich analysis there. I'm going to return us back to the Integration Center experience. As I was highlighting a little bit earlier, you can also see the products that you're using within Google Marketing Platform, as well as the integrations, the product pairs that you're using right now. All of this is interactive. You can click in any part of this. Let's click into the Analytics section, for example. And we're going to see a list of all of your properties that you're working with. And then off to the right is a series of columns here for each of the products that you could potentially integrate with those properties. For this demo, we're going to look for the Google Merchandise Store. That's our demo account that we like to showcase. And you're able to see here, for our various Google Merchandise Store properties, the other products that they're integrated with. So these numbers mean that this particular property has been integrated 3 times with Display and Video 360, once with Search Ads 360, 5 times with Campaign Manager, and so on. If you realize, oh, wow, some of my properties haven't been integrated, you can simply figure that out really quickly here and follow the prompts to go ahead and set up that integration. So we've tried to make the whole Integration Center experience both educational to help you understand what's possible, and then very actionable so you can follow the links and set these integrations up for yourself. Great. And with that, I'm going to switch back over to the main slides. So we showcased a few different integrations that we offer, and there are plenty more that are in the Integration Center that you can take a look at. I'm going to highlight a few more very briefly here for you. The first one is with Search Ads 360 and Analytics 360. It's possible to export your Search Ads data out of the product and into Analytics 360, where what you can do is marry the 2 data sets together to get rich insights on how your marketing campaigns are truly performing. Within Search Ads 360, you get rich data on the ad campaigns that you're running, keyword level data and bidding data that you're selecting for your programs. And then in Analytics 360, you'll have rich data on your websites and your apps, which pages or screens that your visitors, your customers are going to, how long they're spending, if they ultimately convert. When you marry those 2 data sets together, you get a holistic picture of your customer journeys and the performance. Next, we have Analytics 360 with Display and Video 360. This is the very integration that we looked at earlier with Sprint, where you create a high-value audience inside of Analytics and target ads against it inside of Display and Video 360. With Sprint, you saw that they had targeted folks that they thought were about to churn. Another common one that you'll see is customers will identify shopping cart abandoners, people who are about to purchase a product from you, but for some reason decide to leave. They're a high-value group that you may want to remarket to and get them to come back, potentially as customers. And finally, we have Analytics 360 and Optimize 360. It's also possible to share your audiences out of Analytics 360 into Optimize and then target an A/B experiment to them. This helps you to really refine the content that you have on your sites and make sure that you're offering exactly the right content that your customers want to see. Within Google Marketing Platform, we recognize that there are many teams of people and lots of individuals who are going to be working together to accomplish your marketing goals. And so accordingly, we believe that it's important for us to build strong collaboration tools and capabilities into our products. And to showcase an example of that, I'm going to show you 2 screen captures here of Data Studio. You're seeing what 2 people who are loading up the same report would see. On the left, you have a user who's making edits live to the report. And then on the right, the user you'll see is able to see the updates in near real time as person A is making those updates. It's also important to highlight that Data Studio connects to many cloud data sources. And so there are quite a few ways to import cloud data into Data Studio and visualize that data in really interesting ways. It's one great example as to how Google Marketing Platform and Google Cloud work better together. So with that, hopefully you've got a great overview now of how Google Marketing Platform works and a couple of ideas as to how your company might be able to get some value from it. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Michelle, who's going to walk you through even more examples as to how these 2 platforms can work better together.
Thanks, Matt.
You bet.
As Matt mentioned, when used together, Google Marketing Platform and Google Cloud enhance each other. You saw how you can export data from Google Marketing Platform into Google Cloud with just a couple of clicks. And the same is true for other Google data sources, such as Google Ads, Play Store data, YouTube data, Firebase data, and more. Once that data is in Google Cloud, you can bring it together with other first-party data, like data from your CRM system, your e-commerce system, or your billing system. And as of this week, that process is also easier because the Bigquery data transfer service has been extended to third-party systems. 100+ available for you all today. Once that data is there, you can use Bigquery to get insights faster, as well as use Google's powerful machine learning tools to find hidden insights that might be there within your first-party data. And you can action those insights by visualizing them back in Data Studio, as Matt showed, as well as third-party tools like Looker and Tableau. And finally, you can action those insights back into the Google Ads ecosystem through Google Marketing Platform and Google Ads using some of the integrations like the GA360 and Display Video 360 integrations that Matt discussed, as well as use third-party tools for activation, such as SendGrid and email, to hopefully make that email experience better than the one I described in my example. As you can see, Google Marketing Platform and Google Cloud complement each other, and Google Cloud also helps you get more value out of the other marketing tools that you use. Now, to help you get to that value quickly, we've put together and built out a set of use cases to help you get started. And you can learn more about any of these use cases by stopping by the booth or sending an email to the email address that is included at the end of this presentation. So let's take one of those use cases for starters. Purchase prediction. This was the thing that was missing from my renovation story. As a business, you want to be able to accurately predict what is the next product or service that a customer is interested in buying so that you can deliver better experiences than the one I described. Now, if any team of marketers wants to do this today, they likely have to get 2 to 3 technical teams involved to get the data. And it might take a couple of weeks to bring it together in a format that's useful for analysis. Depending on your business, by this time, the customer may have moved on in their decision making. And so the insights you're going to get are going to be less relevant. Now, we make this easier through the data imports that I mentioned, as well as through data cleansing tools like data prep and the speed and scale of Bigquery that make it faster to get to insights the marketing teams can actually use. And some of the things that are possible to do within the Google Ads ecosystem and beyond include things like finding lookalike audiences, increasing bids on generic keywords for an item a customer is likely to buy, and understanding site behavior and customizing the web experience accordingly. And here is what a high-level architecture looks like for how you can use Google Ads and Google Cloud products together to solve for the use case of purchase prediction. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, OK, I get it. Customers are asking for personalized, customized experiences. And this has real business impact if we are able to solve this problem of breaking down these data silos, bringing data together, and analyzing it at scale. But I live in a multi-cloud environment, and why should I do this with Google? So I want to just walk through a couple of areas where we're different specifically for cloud for marketing. First, we're a leader in smart analytics as a service. Forrester rated Google as the only leader in their Insight Platforms as a Service report. We're also building solutions that are specifically designed to meet marketers' needs. So an example are the use cases that I just walked through, as well as making it easier to use these solutions themselves through tools like the Bigquery data transfer service, as well as things like allowing a marketer to build machine learning models using Bigquery ML and doing that right in SQL. And while we're on the topic of ML and AI, Google is a leader in this area. We have over 7,500 projects that are powered by AI inside of Google, including some of Google's consumer products like Search, Maps, Assistant, and more. And we've embedded ML and AI into the core of our solutions in Google Cloud to make it accessible and enable those transformative experiences. So in addition to the cloud for marketing specific ways that we're different, we also build on all the ways that Google Cloud itself is different. And you've heard a lot about this over the course of the week in our keynotes, so I won't go into it in great detail. But just to highlight a few of our strengths here, security, fully automated operations, and openness are in our DNA. And lastly, we bring the best of Google to solving marketing use cases. Things like using the technology of the Google Cloud Vision API to be able to solve for unstructured data and getting value out of that visual unstructured data. Plus, Google teams have years of experience in working with enterprises of all kinds across the globe to solve marketing challenges using cloud and ads technology. This means that Google can help you really accelerate your digital transformation. So we've talked a lot about how we're helping enterprises today by leveraging our products better together. And I want to just give you a sense for what we're building, how we're turning that linear data journey into a flywheel that can keep pace with customer expectations and decision making. The Cloud for Marketing console is our first step in making it possible for marketers to solve for use cases in a way that's faster, simpler, and smarter. And it's available in alpha now. If you're interested in seeing more about the console and asking questions in detail, you can do that at our booth. And there's product managers and engineers on site to help answer your questions. Within the existing Cloud console, we've created this Cloud for Marketing console to make it more engaging and interactive for non-technical users. When a user opens the console, they'll see a dashboard that will have available data sources based on the data they've brought into Bigquery, as well as built-in tagging and access controls. We have templated queries that make it easier for you to get value out of your data and derive insights, and predictive models that help you understand and predict customer behavior and drive business outcomes. And finally, we have links to the Data Studio dashboards that Matt described that are built directly into the console as a template. We make bringing your data into Bigquery faster by providing tools that give you the step-by-step instructions you need directly in the console. And managing all of your marketing-related data is simpler with built-in tagging and access controls. You can also maintain data privacy and security down to the column level for sensitive data and PII. And finally, the console provides smarter insights about your marketing, customers, and products by leveraging templated queries and the same models that power Google services with no coding needed. Now, as we build products like the console to help make it possible to solve for marketing use cases faster, simpler, and smarter, we're also trying to make it easier for enterprises to get the most value of how our products work better together. As an example of this, we include templated queries for queries that you might need to run around Google Analytics or other web analytics data in the console. And we also have seamless integrations into Data Studio built in. We're excited to see what kinds of experiences you all build by using Google Cloud and Google Ads products effectively better together. And I want to give you a little bit of inspiration here and bring up one of our customers, Kenny Wu, who's Vice President of Product at Essence, to tell you how he's doing it. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Kenny. I look after the product team at Essence, and today I'd like to talk to you a bit about how we've used machine learning in Google Cloud and activated that to create better customer experiences via the Google Marketing Platform. Essence is an advertising agency, part of Group M and WPP, and we're focused on creating better experiences and making better decisions using data. We work with some of the largest advertisers in the world: Target, NBC Universal, T-Mobile, and Google, to name a few. Today, I'll be taking you through an example of how we customized ad creative with Google, but we do this for many of our clients across many industries. So first, the world right now is buzzing with talks of artificial intelligence and machine learning, the science of making things smart, and the science of getting computers to do something without being programmed with the rules. While there's a lot of theory that's going on, I'd like to share a concrete example of how we brought this to life. So a few months ago, Google Marketing came to us with a challenge. How do we help consumers better understand the power of Google Assistant? Specifically, this idea of how Assistant can offer helpful information at the moment when it's relevant. So a good example of this is in the kitchen. Any home cooks out there? People are interested? Yeah. So I was making pancakes the other day, and for those science geeks out there, we know that you leaven this dough with a bit of soda and a bit of acid. And I was replacing vinegar with lemon juice, but I had my hands covered in flour and forgot what the conversion was. Great moment to find some information via Assistant. So what we did is we took this idea of helping people in the right moments find the information that they need, specifically around a recipe section in a partnership with The Guardian. What we looked at specifically was demonstrating how Google Assistant could recommend relevant recipes based on the recipes that you're looking at. So this idea of contextual advertising has existed for a long time. But usually, you actually don't have that much interesting information. You know a web page where something is served, roughly what the topic looks like, potentially where the user is located. And if you're lucky, you get keyword-level information. So something we might have considered with just that information is to do some text categorization. Let's categorize sweet keywords and savory ones, and then recommend an accompanying recipe that would be relevant to something sweet or something savory. However, you could end up with some weird results. Pancakes, which for me is a sweet breakfast food, can also mean kimchi pancakes. And a recommendation for something like orange-infused maple syrup would not be very appropriate. So we took a look at the other information that we had at hand, which was the pictures of the recipes themselves, and took a look at how we could take this content to customize our messaging. We used AutoML in cloud and specifically Vision to train a model on identifying sweet and savory foods using the imagery alone, so without text analysis. Took a little time, about 200 images that needed to be hand categorized into sweet and savory. But afterwards, we were very accurately able to predict whether or not something was sweet or savory. That allowed us to come up with much more contextually relevant messaging without the weirdness of kimchi pancakes and maple syrup. So putting this all together with text analysis and image analysis, we were able to create ads that appeared customized and conversational with just content and context. This can then be extended in the future by bringing in the first-party and third-party data that was mentioned earlier to create even better ads. While this feels great, having ads that make sense, that are relevant to the content that's next to you, it has a big business impact as well. We're able to create thousands of ads in a matter of hours across each individual recipe page. We also applied similar methodology on things like movie reviews, restaurant reviews, travel, to name a few. And we saw a major lift in response based on the more relevant ads. In fact, we saw a 9.5% lift in category understanding. And this is interesting because that means that 1 in 10 people who saw these ads versus a control had a much better understanding of what Google Assistant could do for them on a day-by-day basis. So how do we do this? So here's the technical architecture behind all of this. What we did is on a twice-daily basis, collect information from The Guardian in a JSON file about all the news articles, recipe articles, reviews, et cetera, that were published. And we analyzed that information in Google Cloud. First off, we took a look at the content. Every brand is different. So some brands want to appear next to a large swath of content, some very narrow. So we actually trained an AutoML natural language processing model to determine whether or not the content was appropriate for that brand. Second, we used the natural language API to extract salient keywords, such as in the last example, I think, ginger here, a salient keyword, from the text in the recipe. Further, we used the visual analysis, as I mentioned before, to determine sweet and savory. Finally, we took a look at additional data we could use to bring in and enrich the information that we had already. A good example of this is Maps data that we used around restaurant reviews. Given that The Guardian is focused very much in the UK, we looked at where a person's location was and whether or not the restaurant was within the city, at which point we would recommend a restaurant in a particular neighborhood, or if it's outside of the city, and we would indicate which town it was in. All of this combined together allowed us to construct customized copy that was then fed and activated in the Google marketing platform. So the two pieces of the marketing platform that we used, Studio, where we created the dynamic ads, combined the customized text with the ad imagery, and then we serve those ads via Google Marketing Platform's DV360. With a special connection with The Guardian, we're able to determine which pages would be served as we were buying impressions through DV360. So therefore, we could customize the content that would show up. So I hope that this short example inspires you to take a close look at the data that you have on hand, not just the data that you might be using today to create better experiences and make better decisions for your customers, your clients, and your team. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Kenny. You've managed to figure out how to make this entire room even hungrier when we're the only things probably standing between you all and lunch. But it was very inspiring. So if you are interested in what you heard today around building better customer experiences using your data and marketing technology, you can learn more about this by checking out all of the other sessions that will be posted on YouTube for this event. And these are the titles here, as well as visit us in the booth. And we're interested to hear from you. So you can reach our team via the email address on screen. Thank you so much for being here. And then feedback is a gift. So please, before you leave, don't forget to rate this session and tell us what resonated with you and what you'd love to hear more of. Thank you so much.